Hey guys, my name is Ivan, aka AI.VISUALS, and I'm a local Los Angeles photographer and videographer. And today I'm gonna give you a rundown of what you need to know before your photo flight. Hello, y'all.
Hello, y'all.
How are you guys?
What's good? Broadcasting live right now.
Broadcasting live. So there's no audio on this.
This is Alex with Anthelion Helicopters. Before we get into the aerial photography how-to video, we're going to talk a little bit about safety with doors off. One of the biggest things you need to consider is that we can't have any loose objects on you. So whether you've got camera lenses or your cameras or your equipment, everything has to be fixed to your body or stowed, because what we don't want to happen is anything to come out of here and go into that tail rotor over there. The worst that could happen, obviously, if it hits the tail rotor, then we're in an emergency situation. So with the doors off, remember, biggest thing, no loose objects. Another thing to consider is when you've got your headset on, make sure you don't just stick your head out the door when we're going 120 miles an hour, because it could get ripped off, and again, it could end up blowing backwards into the tail rotor. At the very least, it will smash against the side of the helicopter and damage the paint and create a dent. So again, just be mindful of that. We usually put lanyards and quick draws on the headsets to keep them as a safety mechanism, to keep them attached to the aircraft in the event that they do come off, but always just consider it. And the last one in the same vein is the seatbelt. Again, don't take your seatbelt off for any reason, because if you do, it can come off and it's going to bang on the side of the aircraft, making it dented and scratching it up. So, you know, like with any flight, keep your seatbelt on, but even more important with aerial photography.
How you guys doing? My name is Ivan, aka AI.VISUALS, and I'm a Los Angeles photographer and videographer. First things first, make sure you have your seatbelt on. Of course, never take it off. As far as photo gear, I think the biggest thing I recommend, aside from a wrist strap if you're doing a single camera, for me, I prefer 2 cameras so I don't have to switch lenses on a flight. I definitely recommend getting a double camera strap. It clips onto the camera pretty tightly and securely, and you twist it. It's locked into the camera. It's not going anywhere. This is extremely safe, very well built, you know, and it protects you from accidentally, you know, dropping it. If in case you drop the camera, it's still attached to you. So this definitely is a safety feature for you, everyone else on the flight, and anyone else on the floor in case, you know, you drop anything. The second thing I want to mention is lens caps and hoods. Make sure you leave those in your bag, not on the flight. The last thing you want is the wind to knock it off. When you're turning your body, hitting the side of the door here, you don't want any of that stuff flying off. And again, as Alex mentioned, going back to the tail rotor. And if you really need a lens hood, I would recommend gaff taping it, you know, just putting something on it so that way it doesn't fly off. We're gonna talk a little bit about lenses. The main lens that I recommend you using is a 24-70. It's pretty wide and it has some zoom capabilities, so that way you can get some nice compressed shots, some wide stuff, and kind of not feel like you're missing out too much. If you have the capability of doing 2 bodies, I definitely recommend the 70-200. It's very versatile. You can shoot very far, get some really nice compressed photos. Some of my favorite photos are from this lens. So if this is your first photo flight, I recommend flying during the day, a little bit before sunset. That way you don't have to worry about, you know, the technical side of shooting out of a helicopter when it gets a little too dark. During the day, you can shoot as fast as you like, as far as shutter speed. You don't have to worry about it too much. Your shots are gonna come out crisp, sharp, and I think you'll really enjoy it. When you go into night photography, that's where it gets a little more technical. I recommend using prime lenses just because when you're able to drop down that aperture, you can get a lot more light, shoot a little quicker, and that way your photos are a lot sharper. For night photography, you will want to bump up the ISO quite a bit. Some cameras handle it a little bit better than others. I use the A7 III from Sony. It's a wonderful camera, handles the ISO very well. I typically shoot for a night flight in between 2000 ISO up to 32. Anything more than that, you start getting a really grainy photo, especially when you start pulling up the shadows in post. So the slowest I ever shoot is at least 20th of a second. I sometimes go lower depending on how late and how dark it is. Again, I have a lot of years of experience, so that may be a little bit different for each one of you. If you're not too experienced with it, I wouldn't go less than 100th of a second. Anything after that, you might have a little bit of a shaky photo. Once you get a little more experience, have a few flights under your belt, I think you can pull that down and be able to get some really nice low light stuff. Another really important thing is to have really good communication with your pilot. Definitely before the flight, have a plan set of what you want to shoot, how you want to shoot it, the angles that you're looking for. That way the pilot has a really good idea of what you want out of your photos and he can put you in position to capture them. You want to let him know ahead of time what types of photos you want. For example, one of my favorite photos is the top-down look of the US Bank Tower. It's a very technically difficult photo. One, because you're doing a hard bank, which is when the helicopter is almost sideways. And usually with that, you need a high shutter speed, so that way you don't get any blur when you're spinning around. So you definitely want to communicate what side you want and how you want to shoot it, so he can put you in position and make sure that everything is set to go when you're in that place. One thing about aerial photography that I can't stress enough is just do it for the experience. Don't worry about getting the perfect photo. When you're in the air, all the creativity is going to come to you. You're going to feel inspired. It's going to be a whole new world. Just get up there and experience it. And I'm sure while you're up there, you're going to find a lot of inspiration and creativity to capture your favorite photos. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button to see more. And maybe I'll see you in the air.